For many gamers, immersion is a large component of what makes up a good game, but what makes a game truly immersive? You could say that it is impressive graphics, great sound design, realistic gameplay and mechanics, or the sense of presence one gets while in the game world. Being online with other players in a game world creates a richer, more immersive experience, and we're here to discuss why. Games that are online or integrate an online aspect on a large scale are more immersive than those that do not. Guild Wars 2 is a massively multiplayer online game set in a fantasy world filled with a variety of activities, dungeons and raids in which players are required to communicate and cooperate on a large scale. The complexity, scale, narrative and artistic direction of the world of Guild Wars 2 are immersive by themselves, but what really separates the game from an ordinary role-playing game is the online aspect. This is relevant in PvP especially, where you are both competing against and with other players. Guild Wars 2 has large, open-world raids on a massive scale. These raids require large groups of players to cooperate to complete a single task. One such event was called the Marionette. It was a boss battle that, if the game were single player and the boss's health and damage were scaled appropriately for the ability of a single player, would not be as complex. However, the Marionette required a full map, about 200 people. Players then had to self-organise and split the group appropriately amongst the 5 lanes and consider the skill level and character classes that would end up in combination in each lane. Coordinating 200 people makes a boss battle far more difficult than it would be solo and adds an extra level of immersion to the game. The presence of other human players in a game environment can deepen engagement considerably. The player is intently focused on cooperating with a large group, much like a battle in real life would require a large amount of organisation. The battle transforms from a simple combat sequence to an experience shared with other players, and as the battle itself is more difficult, not due to personal challenge but due to the challenge of other players being present, the success is more satisfying. Whether it is in cooperation or in competition, other players tend to enhance the excitement or frustration of the gaming experience. A sense of being there is an important factor for online game users and is more so present in online games than it is in offline games. In single-player games, pre-programmed NPCs recognise your presence, but not in the same way a real person would. In single-player games, interaction is limited to a predefined set of dialogue options recorded or written previously by developers. Artificial intelligence is no match for real sentience. Conversing and cooperating with and competing against other players offers a richer experience and a wider variety of potential outcomes and experiences. In both Guild Wars 2 and DayZ, the presence of other players and interacting with them is what helps to make the game more engaging and immersive. This brings us to our next example, DayZ.
Shared involvement is a large portion of what makes up the DayZ experience, and is arguably the driving point of the game and its immersion. Kellyhar describes this principle of shared involvement as the engagement derived from awareness of and interaction with other agents in a game environment. For the interaction with other survivors and NPC zombies, we can apply the terms discussed by Kellyhar: cohabitation, cooperation, and competition. All of these aspects of shared involvement are easily identifiable in DayZ. The game is all about these interactions with other players, whether they be hostile or friendly. In this footage, you can see examples of all 3 principles of shared involvement. Cohabitation, as I meet random players in the game world. Competition, as we are warned about a sniper bandit atop the tower shooting at anyone he sees. And finally, cooperation, as the group of us only just met team up to eventually shoot the sniper off of his tower. An example of where the aspect competition comes in could be when players are looking for loot. Whether the player be competing with a friend to find the best gun, or shooting at a random player with the intention of taking theirs. It is easy to take someone else's gear, then spend hours trying to find it yourself. Competition for resource is a driving factor in many games, DayZ being a good example of this. The knowledge of resource, and with so much to lose, will inspire paranoia with every encounter that the player may have. A game against a friend is going to, in all likelihood, result in a stronger emotional experience than a similar friendly game against the machine. Cooperation goes hand in hand with competition, as players will often band together with friends or people they meet to increase their chances of survival. You can see an example of this idea in the footage playing, as the player at the fountain is with the player who just attacked my friend in the bush. The The excitement caused from the betrayal of this seemingly friendly player feels real, unlike if it were part of a scripted story performed by an NPC in a single player game. The multiplayer allows for the unique unscripted events like the one you see now, and is exclusive immersion, unique to multiplayer games, those that allow for dynamic and shared experience. All of these aspects of shared involvement are what drives the immersion in games like DayZ and Guild Wars, and generate the heart-stopping, adrenaline-filled, and emotionally exciting experiences that are talked about by Kelly, and is what keeps the player base absorbed and engaged. When applying the principles described by Kelly to games like Guild Wars 2 and DayZ, we can see that what makes these games so immersive is their shared experience. These games would not be nearly as immersive without the multiplayer, and it's this multiplayer aspect that is what makes these games more successful when it comes to immersion.